Melanie, girl, I'm gonna need you to start taking your own advice because you're about to find out quickly that yet again Cynthia is still playing in your face. Okay? Y'all, let's talk about this episode.
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your girl Kay and this is Kay Unscripted. We're talking about Love Island USA Season 8 Episode 23. Now before we get into this video, please take a moment to like, comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for doing so. Now let's get into this episode. So we left off after the recoupling and all of the chaos that happened with that recoupling. Anaya's walking away saying that Casey doesn't even care because he didn't want to come talk to her. So she moves to the side with all of the villa girls and she's saying that she wants to go home. She's bawling her eyes out, saying she feels so stupid, and so all of the girls are trying to comfort her. And I kind of feel bad for her. Now, TT, on the other hand, she had a smile on her face. I didn't like that. Not cute. Not cute at all. I did not like seeing that at all. So anyways, Anaya, she gets up to walk away and she hears the girls from Castle laughing and she assumes that they're laughing at her. And so she's going off and Melanie's trying to calm her down. Meanwhile, we see Zach saying that they had such a great vibe in Castle and this is what they come back to. So Palmira is going to say, well, that's because we're not 21 or 22. And I said, but isn't Corbin 22? What is she talking about? Saying, oh, they're so grown. Palmira, please keep quiet, please. We then see Melanie speaking into Anaya, right? She's trying to calm her down. She's telling her take deep breaths. And she's letting her know that there is a whole life outside of this. There's going to be better men than Casey. And I did like to see that moment between Anaya and Melanie. Melanie might be delusional, but in that moment, she was being a really good friend to Anaya. But y'all, can we also be honest that yes, the way Casey went about doing things with TT was all the way wrong. He didn't have to drag Anaya and make all of these comments about her. And I'm not defending Casey at all. I want to make that evident, right? But I'm just saying he did what he was supposed to do, explore. And I would hate to agree with Bryce, but they did also live on rocky terms. So we don't really fully understand the dynamics. We don't get to see everything that goes down in the villa, but we have to take all of those things into account. So Melanie is telling Anaya that Casey is a little boy, he doesn't fit her life or the type of woman that she is, and that this is the greatest blessing for her. She shouldn't have to build a man up. And it's funny because she's also doing the same. Okay, birds of a feather flock together. How about you take that advice for yourself, girl? Okay. Now, Anaya is saying in her confessional that she's never felt more disrespected and put to the side, and that he's not worth her tears, but she's more so disappointed in herself. Anaya, you're going to be okay. So Sincere, Corbin, and Bryce have a chat. Corbin tells them that the Heart Rate Challenge was live streamed. And so apparently the comment he made, he also found out that was exactly what he wanted, right? He also said he didn't like how the girls were trying to bash Palmida and how they were chewing him up. So Bryce said, but why does Kenzie care when she has someone? So Corbin said in his confessional that he didn't think things would have been thrown in his face. And I said, oh, that's just the beginning because movie night is coming and we're ready for it, okay? So the villa girls talk to Palmida. Trinity tells her that there's no beef with her. The issue is with Corbin and how she's defending someone she's only seen one side of him in a couple of days. But also the girls forgot, or they probably don't know, that these women have seen the episodes before coming into the villa. So trying to convince Palmida that she's in for more isn't going to work because it looked like you were trying to get her to switch up on Corbin and that girl is not doing that, okay? So Palmida tells them that any guy can mess up, but she doesn't want to treat him based on his past experience. But also, why y'all fighting so hard for Kenzie when that girl has been testing all of these guys like she's a sample on the shelf of a store, jumping from guy to guy? Please. Cynthia and Melanie talk. He's like, you were exploring twice, so why are you coming at me like this? So she's telling him that all the guys told her that she was deserving of more, and how Corey did this nice picnic for her. That was her dream date. She's saying all of that stuff. Now, she's telling him that girl was all upon you and it was outside of a challenge, but he tries to avoid the question, okay? But Melanie was like, what was that about? Okay, and he tries to deflect again. She's like, how many times did you kiss someone? He's like, it was one person. She didn't ask you how many people, she asked you how many times. Okay, so she repeats herself, and he said just a few times. How much is a few? I'm gonna need numbers. Okay, if I were Melanie, I'm one. But then again, Melanie, you know what you're dealing with. Okay, so he said, I wasn't going to throw us away over a few days. She just wasn't my person. And I said, now wait a minute, Sincere. Because they did show us the clip in Aftersun of Sincere saying that if he had more time with Amora, he would have picked her. And he was saying that to Amora, okay? But also, I'm not surprised that he's saying that because the man be lying, okay? So he's like, oh, don't ruin the moment we had because I was running to you to give you this raggedy flower in my pocket. And then I get ate up by you and your 5 friends. For what? Then he gaslights her and tells her, oh, you're acting like I walked in there with somebody when I came in here for you. You should be happy that I chose you and you chose me, okay? She tells him that she doesn't want to be embarrassed. And I said, girl, how much more embarrassed are you trying to be? Because you're about to be, okay? This man has showed you time and time again, okay? He then says to her that all he wants is to make her feel like the only girl in the world. And I said, why is he quoting Rihanna? This man is always trying to look intelligent, like I said, okay? He said, want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. That's what he said, okay? And then all of a sudden she starts smiling. I said, girl, I don't know. Trinity and Bryce. So she said she was scared that he was going to come back with a girl from Casa. He said he was also scared that she had a connection after seeing the photo of her kissing Corey. She said that she and Corey aligned, but she couldn't push past the kiss. And I said, girl, you sure look like you enjoyed that kiss. Okay, so then he starts talking about Casey again. He is always bringing up Casey and talking about Casey. Casey this, Casey that. Boy, mind your damn business. Please, Bryce, please. Tell me this isn't weird to y'all that he keeps bringing up Casey. He's always gossiping about Casey to Trinity. Don't y'all find that weird? It's giving he don't like Casey, okay? So Trinity said in her confessional that she don't want anybody else but Bryce, and I said, good for you, girl. Now Casey and Titi talk. He said the whole thing to him was ridiculous. If he feels some type of way, he's going to speak up. He also said that he was constantly having to fill her cup, reassure her, speaking about Anaya, and he's never got any of that. And now he's speaking himself because he chose to make a decision for himself and everybody is down his throat, okay? Talking about free days and free nights, okay? So now when they glimpsed at Anaya, I said, girl, what is wrong with your hair? Do better, please. So then Titi tells Casey that his friends told her that they've never seen him this happy, so stay true to himself. So Casey said, I'm always the nice guy and I'm done. I said, okay. He also tells Titi that he respects her a lot more for speaking up for him. And she said, they're not going to talk to my dude like that. And I said, period. Okay, I know this is an unpopular opinion, but that's how I roll for me and mine. Because you're not going to speak how you want to my guy. You're not going to speak to my guy crazy and I'm there. Nah, that's not happening. Anyways, Kader and Zach talk. Okay, he's all happy that they both came back single, and he's acting like he wasn't just kissing on his brother's sloppy seconds, okay? He tells Kata that he only kissed the girl 3 times, and then he's going to say, oh, he cuddled but felt horrible. Just lying out of his teeth, okay? They're going to say whatever at this point to get away with their behavior. I cannot stand Zach, okay? He tells Kata that he had to immerse into the experience because actually they're not even really together. Kida, you heard that right? He doesn't want to close things off with you. He's just telling you what he wants you to hear. So Anaya heads to bed early. She's in soul ties and she's crying. She's crying so much that the girls are downstairs and they could hear her crying. So Melanie runs upstairs to check on her while Trinity and Kida stay downstairs to talk. Trinity is saying that she wishes Anaya was more open to talking to Carl and she could have still explored both Casey and Carl. So we see Melanie up there with Anaya and she gets into the bed with Anaya while she's bawling her eyes out, saying that Casey's speech was so disrespectful, and we see Melanie trying to comfort her. Meanwhile, the girls are upset because Casey doesn't want to keep exploring with Anaya because he felt like TT is his person. So Kata's calling Casey a bitch ass boy, and I just hate the name calling, okay? Say what you want to say, but don't be calling men a bitch, right? And my thing is, while you're at it, let's call out Sincere. Let's call out Zach. But y'all are not doing that, right? We haven't seen y'all call out neither one of them. So keep that same energy for them. Meanwhile, Zach and Bryce are happy as hell, and it's giving they're happy their plan worked. That's definitely what it was giving. So to me, I feel like they were saying, we're going to go into castle, we're not going to do too much, but we're going to encourage the other guys to have fun, explore, okay? Because these two are here to win, and we did see them encouraging all of the guys to go explore, talk about your feelings, feel what you feel. They were definitely doing that, okay? So anyways, they said they're happy that the girls picked them. Bryce said that he got his lady and he's ready to hold her tight. And of course, we see them humping each other, okay? Zach was humping Bryce, and Bryce was just rubbing on his waist. They're just happy to be with each other for real, okay? They said they're back. Now, Pamela tells Corbin that the girls told her to watch him, and he's like, well, what did I do? And she tells him, don't do no sneaky shit behind her back. Clownsy's with Dylan. She's telling him that she's happy with her decision. But are you though, girl? Are you, Kenzie? So anyways, the Islanders get ready to head to bed. We do see Titi telling Melanie that there's no beef, and she does apologize to Trinity for calling her a little girl. Trinity tells her it's okay because her issues are with the guys, and that was good job, girls, okay? So she tells the girls that Bryce and Zach were the best behave, and so Melanie was like, well, what about Sincere? So she's like, oh well, I'm gonna let him tell you. But then she ends up saying that he was cuddling Amora and they were kissing. So Melanie said, oh okay, I don't regret yelling at him. So while they were in the bed, why did Pamela send Corbin to go brush his teeth? She said, you're not about to say nothing with that stinky ass mouth. My lord. So everyone heads to bed. And I said, okay, well, Zach and Kid are doing the do. Anyways, he tells her he loves her. And I said, oh, he's trying to win for real, okay? So we get to the next morning. Trinity done gotten French fried, okay? That's what she said. Girl makes breakfast for Anaya. Now, Caleb's talking to Casey. And Casey's saying that he wants to talk to Anaya about what happened, but he felt like the environment was a bit too hostile and it wasn't making it easy for him to have a conversation with her. And I just feel like give it a little bit more time, let things calm down a little bit, and then have the chat. Meanwhile, Anaya's telling Bryce and Sincere that she liked Carl but didn't want to bring him back when Casey was still on her mind. So she said she thought Carl would have been a safe option. And I said, so was Casey and I, okay? Because you really didn't explore, and we know you were interested in Sean and you didn't even explore him. right? So Zach tells her that she did the right thing, she put herself out there, and it's okay that it didn't work out. And so Anaya says that he didn't even care about her, referring to KC. And so Zach explains that he does care about her. The decision wasn't easy for him. Now, two things can be right. He can care about her and her feelings and still do something he feels is best for him. He has always showed that he cared about Anaya and her feelings, and this time he just chose to put himself first, okay? Just because you didn't get chosen doesn't mean he didn't like you. He just didn't like you enough to go the extra mile, and that happens all the time. Also, let's not forget that Anaya said she didn't have much in common with Casey, but had a lot more in common with Carl. Again, did Casey go about things the right way? Absolutely not. Okay. So she said in her confessional that she wished she could go back in time and tell herself that this is a bad decision, and now she's missing Carl. She then says that she's second guessing everything, how she doesn't feel beautiful or respected, and I'm just like, girl, why are you constantly seeking validation from other people? It's draining. How about some self-worth, Anaya? You cannot seek value from people. Anaya, please stand up, do better. So Corbin, Dylan, Gaul, and I think it was Caleb were sitting together. Corbin, I think he was the one asking the guys from Castle what happened while they were gone, right? So they talk about Anaya kissing Carl and how great of a person Carl was. And so Caleb said that with Anaya, he felt like she felt like Casey was either too goofy or too nonchalant. So he feels like she needs someone who's more grounded. And Dylan was like, well, Carl's the guy, okay? So then we move on to Kate and Zach, who have a chat. A lot of chats were happening. So they're at the dock and she's like, oh, by the way, I was here with Che. He's hot. He's a big guy. And Zach's like, are you trying to piss me off? Because that's valid. So they both say that they're so happy to be back with each other. And then Kida was like, so as I was saying, Che was giving me all of the green flags. So Zach said, so are you trying to say I have red flags? Because you have some red flags too. So she's like, me? And then he's like, well, when you don't say please and thank you, that annoys me. She said, neither did I want you kissing on another girl, but here we are. So he said, well, I have to do what I have to do. We're not boyfriend and girlfriend yet. And I don't know, Zach really do be giving Kata those hints, but she's not taking none of them into consideration. Even when she brought up him saying he loves her, he tells her, oh, I was just joking. Kata girl, you missed the mark. You should have picked Che. But I get it, you don't give Zach the cookie, so you feel like you have to stay with him. Cynthia and Melanie have a talk. So he's like, it's such a beautiful day today. Cynthia knows he's in trouble. He's hugging on Melanie and she's not having it. He's like, oh, I missed you so much. So anyways, he tells her, you look like you need to get some things off your chest, so go ahead. So Melanie finally says, well, you were saying it was so difficult for you, but you were just bumping and grinding on that girl in the bed. So he said he regretted it, and she was like, no, you didn't, because you kept doing it. Like, you can't do it and then say you regret it. Consider me to begin with. And so she starts crying, right? He said that the last thing he wanted to do is to hurt her feelings. But Cynthia, you say that and you keep doing shit over and over again. He then said, oh, you're right. I haven't respected your boundaries, and I have never said you shouldn't feel the way you feel. Deflecting 101. Y'all, but also, Melanie, I don't know. It's kind of hard to feel bad for you because everyone warned you, but you still went ahead and picked him. So Melanie's in the dressing room crying, and Trinity comes to comfort her, and she's like, don't tell him Titi told me this, but I know I should be happy. He came back single, but he was in bed kissing and grinding on this girl, and he expects me to just forget about that, right? She's saying that he keeps saying he's going to do better, but when it's time for him to act, he doesn't act. And she's heard that same old speech over and over again. She says in her confessional that she feels stupid, and she's at a point where she doesn't trust Sincere But we know you're gonna stick beside your man, Melanie, okay? So Sincere then takes his behind to go talk to Zach, saying that he's confused. Zach, oh my goodness, tells him, oh, she ruined a good moment between y'all. Like, seriously, Zach? And it's the fact that Sincere is actually acting like he doesn't know what he did wrong. He lies so much, he's starting to believe his own lies. Talking about, oh, she has every right to be upset, but she's acting like I brought someone back. Or yeah, did I do a little bit bumping and grinding? Yeah. Cynthia, oh my lord. Cynthia said that he couldn't bring Amora back because it didn't feel right for him. And here is y'all, he said he was forcing himself to open up to Amora. Does he know that everything is recorded, or does he think we're stupid too? So Zach tells him, oh, it's either y'all get back together or you'll split. And I said, okay, well, I hope you keep that same energy when Kida finds out what you did to Zach. Anyways, Anaya and Titi chat. Anaya tells Titi that she doesn't have any beef with her, but she feels like the way Casey went about things was disrespectful. Titi said that as a woman, she understands how she feels and she would have done the same, right? So they're good. Titi said she would love to have some type of connection with Anaya, and she said same. She also apologized if she made her feel any type of way, and Anaya said, no girl, it's all on him. They hug it out. She said in her confessional that she wanted Titi to know that her beef was with Casey and not her, and that was really nice of them. Corbin, Casey, and Sincere sit at the fire pit, and Corbin's telling Casey that Gaul told him that Anaya was kissing all upon Carl every morning. So Casey started laughing, and it's like, every morning? And so Corbin said, well, the way they were talking, they were perfect for each other. And Casey said, well, she should have picked him. Why didn't she pick him? And I said, Casey, pipe down, okay? It's not giving you really feel some type of way, like you said, okay? Now, I understand also that he might be thinking, oh, she gave me all of that smoke, but she was up in here kissing on the guy every day. So that might be the reason why he's reacting the way he is. Is it okay? Of course not. So Jaden then gets a text letting them know that there's a challenge, boys versus girls, and everyone's excited. So they're getting ready, the guys have their feet and so do the girls, and then we see Meg the Stallion making her way into the villa, and she goes up to the girls' dressing room. Everyone is hyped, and y'all, everyone then knew that Kenzie did the split, okay? Is this her only move? Because she done shook the whole damn villa splitting. Anyways, Meg is hyping up the girlies. She said, baby Kenzie is trying to find Diego. I said, not Dora the Explorer. Okay, so let's get into this challenge. Here's how it's going down. It's boys versus girls, and it's going to be 3 rounds. So round 1 is called Hot Girls Musical Kicks. And so they have to dance, and when the music stops, they have to be seated on a kick. And so she will pick which team did the best. Now, this round was won by TT for the girls and Casey for the guys, but Megan gave the point to the girls. Round 2 is called Sweet Revenge. The girls will pick a cake. The guys, will pick a cake and let a girl know what's been pissing them off. So Gal goes first, and he kicks Melanie for taking his best friend out of the villa. Next was Zach, and he kicks Trinity for shouting at him a lot, and he said he thinks that she's jealous of his connection with Bryce. Now, she thinks this man is joking, but he's serious. He said, a message to Trinity, stay away from my man. Trinity, you heard him, okay? Next up was Caleb, and he chose to kick Palmita because she threw herself at him and told him lies the minute she found someone else and hasn't talked to him since. And I said, yeah, kick her. He said, now I have Jaden. Now at first I thought he was speaking about Kenzie, but it was actually Palmita. So up next was Dylan. He chose to kick Anaya. He said he is one of the OG guys. And I said, there is no such term, okay? Anyways, he said he misses his boy Carl. Okay, so next up was Bryce, and he chose to kick Kata. He said he hasn't forgotten about Paradise Cove, and I said he's still hurt about that. Yikes, Trinity, you see? Sincere was up next, and he said this girl is like a fly on the wall. She always has something to say, and it has nothing to do with her. And I said, oh shit, Trinity, he's coming for you. But then he kicked Jen, and I was confused. Then Casey comes up next, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna talk my shit. And he said if he had multiple kicks, all of the girls would get kicked. And I said, Casey, not too much, okay? But he said it's one girl who cannot be quiet. And of course, he was talking about Trinity, but he missed. He missed, okay? I said, yeah, that's what you get for doing too much, because she was right in the front. So Megan's like, don't you think you could have gone about things more respectfully? And this is where he lost me, acting like he was clueless. But he got that flashback in his head real quick. Yeah, Casey, like Anaya said, sit down. Now, in case y'all don't realize, I don't have sides. Wrong is wrong, right is right, okay? Now, Corbin is the last guy. And he said he's choosing Kenzie because she said something that threw him off. But he does take accountability. And I said, Casey, that's how it's done. But also, Corbin, you do that after you smash the cake in her face. So Meg then says that it is possible to explore respectfully. And she also feels like they turned down the girls to hype up some of the other girls. And I'm going to have to agree with Meg. So now we get to round 3, and it's the girls' turn, right? Jaden goes up first, and she chose to cream Gal and said he needs to step up with Jen. Next was Kata. She said this one is for my girl Anaya. You did her dirty, and so she creamed Casey. Next was Jen. She chose to cream Corbin, but baby, she missed. She said he was disrespectful to her best friend. And I said, I don't know why you're defending Clownsy when she wants your man. Okay, so next up was Palmita. She chose to cream her man. She said, I need you to know that I don't play these games. Don't do it to me. The next girl was Trinity. She chose Bryce, and so she said so she could lick it off. I said, okay. Kenzie was up next. She chose to cream Corbin because he's a liar and switched up real fast. Titi was up next, and she said she is choosing this guy even if he's cool, but he's toxic, two-faced, and I mess with Melanie heavy. So we know she was talking about insincere. I said, yeah, get him. And then he's going to sit up in his confessional saying he tells the truth but not the whole truth. Does he know that's lying? So anyways, Melanie was up next. And she said, y'all not about to make my girls feel less than, okay? So she started with Corbin and ended up with Casey. Now, lastly was Anaya, and we all know she was going for Casey. She gave everything she had in her. She said she's never felt more disrespected, thrown to the side, and not checked up on. And so Meg gives the point to the ladies. So the final kickoff was done by Kenzie and Zach. They were selected by Meg. And so they have to dig into a cake to find the prize, no hands. And baby Bryce said to Zach, I'm not even worried. I've seen what that mouth do, and I felt it too. And I said, oh, wow. So the girls get a 10-second head start, but Zach ended up winning. And so he won a note which said, revenge is sweet. And so Meg then tells them that America had the chance to vote for their favorite girl and boy from Casa Amor who didn't get picked and who returned for their own sweet revenge, and everyone looked so nervous. Come to find out, it's Amor and Carl back in the villa, and I said, okay, baby Anaya, he's back, don't mess it up. Carl is back, and Sincere, oh, it's about to go down, okay? He looks hella nervous. So anyways, Megan makes her exit from the villa. And y'all, this is where the episode ends. Now, I need to hear from y'all. Was Megan right when she called out the boys for putting the girls down while hyping up their Casa connections? Please drop all of your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye.